Jim Carrey has established himself as one of the biggest names in Hollywood, but before taking over Tinseltown, Jim came from very humble beginnings. He left school at 16, he was homeless for a short period of time, and his first time on stage resulted in booze and a giant hook pulling him off stage. Welcome to Before They Were Famous, I'm Michael McCrudden. Born on January 17th, 1962, Jim and his family would move around the Toronto suburbs for most of his childhood. Jim was born the youngest of 4 siblings, and even as an infant in a high chair, the family began to take notice in Jim's comedic charm. Jim's father, Percy, was a retired jazz performer who had a keen interest in show business himself. He had retired his passion to keep food on the table for his growing family, but he kept a close eye on Jim's talent, and when he found an advertisement for an amateur night at Yuck Yuck's Comedy Club in downtown Toronto, he got Jim ready and they went down together.
I would sit back sometimes and watch him tell stories, and it was so obvious to me who I was, that I was him.
At the age of 14, it was Jim's first attempt to take the stage at a comedy club. He tried a routine where he pulled his shirt over his knees and said, "Hey, I'm Dolly Parton," but unfortunately the crowd didn't like it, they began to boo, and a giant hook pulled him off stage. Jim Carrey was devastated. Around the same time Jim Carrey's life began to take a downward spiral, his father was laid off and creditors began to close in. Eventually Percy found employment at a factory as a night watchman, and worked out a strange deal in which his entire family would live in a stone house on the property, but they too would also be employed as custodians.
We waxed, we cleaned, we polished, we did everything. Urinals, you got it, you name it, we did it. And it was hell.
For 2 years, the entire Carrey clan worked and lived at the factory. At the age of 16, Jim Carrey was exhausted working 8-hour shifts and attending high school. Embarrassed by his circumstances, he decided to drop out of school. In the spring of 1978, Jim Carrey's family decided they would not work at the factory anymore. With no other alternatives, they chose to live inside a camper van for the next 8 months. It was around this time Jim Carrey decided that he would return to Yuck Yucks, but this time with new material, more confidence, and a fire inside him that would never burn out.
I saw the light on the night that I passed by her window.
In 1983, Jim Carrey was picking up roles, small bits in movies, like this clip in Cooper Mountain.
When I get bored, I occasionally get Jacques Cousteau happy feet.
And in 1983, he moved to LA. He would continue to work at the Comedy Store, taking little bit parts here and there. It wasn't until In Living Color, and eventually Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, and The Mask, Jim Carrey would have his breakthrough year. And the rest of the story, well, you know the story, or you can find it elsewhere, because this is Before They Were Famous. I'm Michael McCrudden. Thanks a lot. Alrighty then.